Okay, so this is part two. Now, from what I gather is, especially when you're young and little, they'll stage an entire section of a town or an area, and then they target people within the real place in that area, families that move in there and different things, and these cults will have a bunch of lookalikes. It's really weird and sadistic. It's like something that most people can't fathom. But what they'll do is they'll flip the kids around. But because these people are connected to black ops, military, secret societies, intelligence, all that stuff, they have Manchurian technology. So what they'll do is they'll bring the one kid to the staged house in a completely different place. They'll bring the other kid to the real house. The kid in the staged house, they'll still hook him up to the technology so that he's experiencing stuff through the other kid's eyes. So it's like he never got kidnapped. And then certain things they'll stage in the real place depending how far the person is going or depending on the individual circumstances and stuff. But they'll stage like family parties or whatever it may be, right? They'll even have lookalikes of their friends and weird shit, man. This is like a massive, what I believe to be child trafficking kind of cults and operations. And that's why even when I was in the Walmart in Jersey just a couple years back, I was seeing all these posters of like missing children and shit like that. And you know how they say there's like thousands of kids and people that go missing in the United States every year. And I remember the telepathy even telling me it was like, oh, that's a hint. Now check this out though. At this point, they pretty much shipped me away to some Asian country or where they're building a replica of following the formula of where I'm originally from. Also, I think they did something to my neck because I've never had this like this. They might have performed some type of secret surgery on me. Somebody said that they changed my voice and I just can't tell. I have no idea. I would hope not. I would hope that they're not able to fuck with my ears to that point where I can't even tell what my own voice sounds like. But now I'm remembering, after seeing those two photos of them flip-flopping me on that Wildwood trip. And then I spent the rest of the Wildwood trip with the fake family. And they kept swapping us around back and forth. Me and this other kid. The other kid that I believe it to be would be through these Christmas photos that I found that they left. And that's another thing is a lot of the staged pictures they never hit a photo album. The pictures that they were going to use later on never hit a photo album. And the way that you could tell that is because these are old school photo albums, like even this one. Never hit a photo album, because they must have kept it in a plastic bag and kind of like, oh, don't get your DNA on it. But because I come from the 80s where the old school photo albums had glue. So this was in a photo album at some point and taken out for this. But I'm realizing that they were switching up the mothers or the kids a lot. All through my mostly, they might have been doing the same to my sister, but they were mostly doing it to me and possibly my little brother, and also the two kids involved. This is how you could tell that this is a staged house and how creepy these people are. They even buy almost like the same exact Christmas gifts and stuff. The same exact year on Christmas, I was being flipped around. I'm either this kid or I'm this kid. It was the same year, same Christmas, but notice the difference. One house verticals, one house still had regular curtains. Bought the same snowboard. They tried to get the wrapping paper the same. Look, but they didn't completely nail it. Look, same TV. These people redesigned their houses to look exactly like yours. They stalk your family. Except these houses are in completely different spots. One is on, from what I heard, like a hidden military base. And one is, in the real place. And, see, this would be a stage pic of me. But never hit a photo album. But I did have that Nine Inch Nails t-shirt. I did dress like that. Our house did look like that. Now, here's from a real photo album. That's again at the mall. Then they'll do weird shit like this. Look, this never was in a photo album. What kid is that? I have fucking no clue. Although I was into that looks like Thundercats shirt. But is that me? Who knows? It never hit a photo album, so it was only being used for this operation. Same thing like this. This would be the house. That's the deck that we had and everything. Easter egg hunting, right? But never hit a photo album. Not just that, but they cut the pic so that you can't see certain things. Because if you see certain details, it's like, oh, that was here, not there. Just like they're claiming that, this was in the real place, which it possibly was. This looks more like the real place than anything. And, but that kid, doesn't look like me. These are cults flip-flopping around kids and doing stuff since I was a baby. Because this is the house before they changed everything on it. And they've been doing this since I was a baby. And look, anything that they knew they were going to use later on, they never put a photo, like a photo album pic. And that's why a lot of the people that are black operations on you at the end, when they send in the elimination crew, They don't even know what the fuck happened. They just think, oh, well, this guy did all these bad things, not realizing what they were targeted by since they were born. So, oh, we're just running a regular cliche black operation of getting rid of this guy. That's what they're told. And it's kind of the cult's way of getting your regular black op military and intelligence to go along with cult activity. And that's why even all the handler girls that they would send in, they were dumb as hell. Dumb as hell. Dumb as a doorknob, probably. Because they kept sending in handler look-alike girls of what my supposed girlfriend, while redirecting our phone communication and shit like that. And these girls, I mean, for a couple $1,000s, they're willing to fucking set a dude up that they don't even ask the important questions. Like, wait, if he did all those things, why isn't he just in jail in America? Oh, wait, if this and like, they don't ask the most basic, fucking simplest fucking questions that would kind of like explain, hey, the same people trying to pay you to set him up are the actual perpetrators. Like, they don't ask those simple questions that would prove that. And but yeah, that's pretty much where I'm at right now. And even this, supposedly me and my brother, they tore this page out of a photo album. My brother playing basketball in the backyard. Now, could this quite possibly be in the real place? Judging from the type of trees, judging from the wooden deck, it's either on the base or in the right place. It's definitely not where I am right now. Where they transfer is a completely different, what it looks to be as a military on the low project, possibly in North Korea. Something that the American public would be in an uproar about if they would ever find out. And what it looks like is they are developing land for them, and they're doing it in the likeness of a couple of block strips of my original area in America. But let's just say that tree in the neighbor's yard, that was chopped down back when I was a teenager. That doesn't belong there anymore. That's how the old area used to look. And then when you look into the distance, shit gets really funky. And I even remember them saying that because of what they did to my family, which is supposedly the Trescas. My name is supposedly Jason, and I was switched. But we may have a completely different last names and names altogether for all I know at this point. Because they've been doing this to us since we were young. But that's why they had to work with a corrupt country under the table to finally get rid of me. And that's why, judging from the air traffic I see, because from my original backyard, which they may have staged that original house as well. It might have been two staged families. My original family, for all I know, moved away. And took the wrong kid, possibly. That just looked like me. So the house might have been staged in the real place with look-alike family members as well as the fake place. To the degree that it started so young that I might not even know what my real family looks like. But judging from the air traffic, it's nothing but Asian airline planes. I know a lot of people are thinking like, oh, why don't you run? Why don't you run? Because it's either that or some uncharted island where I'm pretty much surrounded. Even they would chain link around the grass just to kind of send a message to me like, yeah, you're a prisoner. You're at the age now where you figured out what's been going on, and go ahead, try to run. You know everyone around you is in on this. So it's more of a psychological, like, metaphor, like, thing they're using on me here. But back to that picture that I was showing of that vacation. The reason why I know I was flip-flopped that day as well is because that corn t-shirt and that filter hat, I loved it. I was going to wear it the next day on the boardwalk. And all of a sudden I wake up in what appears to be the same hotel room. They probably brainwashed me a little bit so I wouldn't make the correlation of room numbers and different things like that. And I asked my supposed mom, I was like, my corn shirt's missing, and so is my filter hat. And I was like so upset. And this evil bitch, she just goes, I'm sick of you wearing that. You wear it all the time. Now, my real mother would have never fucking said that. Not even, let's just say, if that other lady isn't even my real mother, she would have never fucking said that. Never. She was the nice one. She was like the always nice and sweet to me and stuff. And but the other weird part about that, you hear those gunshots going off in the distance. The other weird part about that is, where's my sister in those pictures? I have no idea. And supposedly there was like a weird stuff even the last time I was in the real place with my supposed real father. I don't know if it was my real father or not at this point, but it could have been theater, because he was saying some shit while we were driving to the Home Depot, and he starts saying, oh, I'm just thinking because the anniversary of what happened to your brother is coming up. Now, keep in mind, it was also my birthday coming up. And the telepathy was trying to tell him shit, apparently. Because they let me listen in to what they're saying to other people at times. And they said, you didn't lose the kid, he's right there next to you, or some weird shit. And then apparently we pull into the Home Depot parking lot, and I pass out. There's two Passaic cops approaching our car, and I pass out, and so does the one Passaic cop. We just drop, and then the whole incident, I don't remember anything except afterwards pulling up again into the Home Depot parking lot, but in a different truck with a different dad again. Almost like that movie Total Recall. In fact, that's what they told some of these military dudes. Said, oh, we pulled a total recall on you. With the fucking brainwash technology, and because what they would, and that's why even one time I went to Hackensack Hospital, the real one, because they have a staged one as well on a base where they recreated North Jersey, almost like a section of North Jersey they recreated. And I remember when I was in the real one, the lady even asked me, she's like, oh, how's that narcolepsy going? And I was like, what are you talking about, narcolepsy? The nurse and shit. And I believe that's because when you're an adult, if they can't pull a switch on you in the house, they'll pull a switch on you at hospitals and things like that they infiltrate. And what they'll do is the other guy that believes he's you, that looks exactly like you and was brought up the same, when he's not in the real place, they'll have him hooked up to the technology, seeing shit through your eyes. So it's almost like he's there anyway. And then vice versa. That's from what I believe, that's how they pull this off. And a lot of these people who believe they're, quote, targeted individuals and things like that, that's what they're being victimized by. They just don't know it yet. They're on one side of the fence. So if you're a targeted individual and you know you're in the real United States, and you're probably good. You're probably good, but there's somebody that looks exactly like you tapped into you. Or other military intelligence agencies, entities tapped into you to make you do dumb shit, stuff like that. Yeah, they even told me that. They're like, by the end of this, you're going to be an expert on what this all is. But that's what it pretty much is. It's these cults that will, military connected and intelligence connected, that they'll live in a pretty much staged replica house or town. I don't know if it's on an abandoned island, deserted, uncharted island. I don't know. The base part, I don't know. But a lot of times what they'll try to do too is whoever their target is, and that's why it always seems like somebody is turning on you, let's just say. So let's say you have a friend Joe. They'll get a look-alike of him. They'll fuck with your phone and everything, even in the real place, in real America, and intercept all your communication with Joe. And they'll have you communicating with sometimes like, not AI, but like voice cloning software of the person. And you'll think you're really talking to them. And then, okay, let's meet by the park. Okay. And all of a sudden you're meeting a lookalike of him. And that's why you have to observe very certain details. When I started catching on to the whole, they're using lookalikes of my girlfriend, it's because I started noticing the beauty marks. And I was like, wait a minute. She had a beauty mark here. Today she doesn't. That doesn't just fucking go away. And that's when I started catching on and shit. But they'll even brainwash people to certain details so that they don't catch on quick. And that's why you gotta be careful, man, because they'll brainwash you to like a small detail. Like, oh, didn't Bob have a scar on his forehead? Why isn't it there now? You know, like shit like that. Like, and that's what they do to you all through your, pretty much all through your life, to try to really fuck with you. And what they'll do is they'll infiltrate your family with lookalikes and shit like that. And that's why, like, I could even show you fucking pictures. They left this all giant pile of pictures to fuck with me. To fuck with me. To fuck with me. Because they want me to see. Look. Cousin with the scar, birthmark above the left eye. But in the next picture, same cousin, but the scar, the birthmark is missing. And they left me all these pictures just to fuck with me. Some of it was to fuck with me. Some of it was to kind of connect the dots, I believe, of where I was and when I was there. And that's why I remember all this. I remember taking this picture, but then there's also a picture from supposedly months later where I look like this. From that to that. Within months. In fact, it's the same birthday. This is the birthday 2004 for, or was this my, okay, no, that would have been my sister's birthday. But this is the same year as supposedly this. With my brother and stuff. Look, same house. Observe the cabinets. Observe. Same house, same everything. Because they build duplicates, man. And they fuck with people. And that's why I even remember when I was a later teenager, my mom wanted to order like this custom furniture and different stuff. Supposedly in the real place. It had to be in the real place. And she comes home and she's talking and stuff, and she's like, oh yeah, I must have good taste because there was a guy right behind us, and he's like, oh, I like your taste, and he ordered a lot of the same stuff as me. Like, don't you see something wrong with that? You're ordering fucking custom furniture. Like, custom, keyword, custom. You know, custom is, I mean, it's supposed to be one of a kind, you know? Like, come on, bro. And, The other weird thing is, like, when I was a kid and my dad and my supposed grandfather were doing the concrete in the backyard, the sidewalk, as well as rebuilding the wall, redoing the wall with cinder block and concrete that divides the property from the neighbor's yard. I remember they were busting up the old wall, and some guy comes by, and he's just asked my dad, like, oh, can I? And my dad just thought that shit was weird. But he's like, oh, can I take some of those pieces of the wall? And he's like, I don't know what you would use them for. It's broken cinder block and concrete and shit. And he's like, oh, no, I'm going to piece some of them back together for something. Once I finally arrived here, that's where it ended up, right in there. Now that was back in 1985, 1986. And then I also have massive returning memories of me being kidnapped a couple of times by people who looked like my family. But there's a good chance that those people weren't even my family at all. And it was two staged families that looked the same in both places, because that would guarantee a very specific outcome if they staged both the families in both the places. But it's a massive, almost like identity theft. There's a real estate mobbing aspect to this. Probably government black budget contracts. Development contracts are involved in these type of things. As well as cult activity of switching around traffic kids. Family members teaching two kids that their name is this and switching them around from houses. And that's why they even said with me, they said 43 years to cover up one crime. Now what that crime is, they never told me. But that's what they pretty much were saying, shit like that. 43 years to cover up one crime. Could that have been the disappearance of my real parents? I don't know. But there's definitely a cultish vibe to it all. A trafficking vibe. As well as secret government technology, black budget projects, Freemasons, development projects in other countries. A lot of secret, dirty money, it seems like, is fueling this stuff. And then, with a lot of targets, at least in my case, what they'll do is they'll frame you for the very same stuff that they're guilty of. They use you like a cover because your whole family was fake. Maybe who knows, maybe my real family moved out at some point. Maybe it was when I was really little. I don't know. But I just noticed through time they'll replace and switch in and out different family members. And some of them are clueless about what's going on, and then at times other ones know exactly what's going on. So it makes it very confusing. I even remember when we were going to see my grandfather in Clifton. And now this other kid, he hijacked all my shit. Well, he's not a kid anymore. I don't know who he is. Maybe he found out his real identity. Maybe that's how this all works. Maybe my parents moved when I was very little. They staged the house with fake family members. They put their kid somewhere in hiding so that he could claim to be me later on and get all the different assets and stuff. Because I even remember a couple years ago, one of the handler lookalike girls of my girlfriend saying weird shit like, oh, I would help you, but you're too brainwashed because you don't even realize the house is in your name right now. And I'm like, wait, what? Because I was complaining about my parents and how they were acting. And she was like, something like, you could kick, that's how it started. She's like, you could kick them out, you know? I was like, how? And she's like, you don't know, you own this house. I thought she was just talking crazy. But that's why all my IDs kept getting stolen and replaced with fake ones. Because apparently they used my identity as a cover for everything. And then they had their kid, who looks exactly like me, participate. Not only in framing me, but in, even if it is their kid or not, I don't know. He was probably raised to believe he's their kid. I don't know. It's like some cult shit. But they had him completely steal my identity and who I am. And then frame me in the process. And that's who they apparently signed the real house over to. And that's where the real estate mobbing aspect of this comes in. Because then what he does is he then sells or signs the house over to one of the big Freemason developers or whatever. And then they flip these properties, a fucking $500,000 house. Oh, we're going to put condos there now. And they flip that shit for fucking $20 million. There's a big, heavy, organized crime aspect to this whole thing that I think most people who claim to be targeted, they're only seeing the broad spectrum, like the narrow spectrum of what's going on. And that's why it's easy to gaslight them. That's why I even said, these motherfuckers want to gaslight me. Come on. Now we're in a foreign country where I don't even know where the fuck I am. That means it's no holds barred out here. So come on. I know that I can't just take off and dip because I already did that one night. And I reached where Park Ave is supposed to be. And let's just say the New York City skyline wasn't there no more. And, but I think a lot of people that claim to be targeted, they're only seeing the narrow perspective. Like either, oh, people are stalking me, the government's stalking me. Oh, people are framing me. People are doing that. That's very narrow. There's something way bigger going on. And that's why I even always said, I was like, yo, I would have been better off being a crazy person, crazy schizophrenic, than understanding what this all is. I might have been safe. If I was a crazy schizophrenic, like believing like, oh, body snatchers took over my family members and now they're acting crazy, I gotta run, I would have got away. The problem is I understand what the fuck is going on. That's what made me fucking dangerous, man. That's why they took me to a completely different country. They were in my ass, yo. I would have been safer being that crazy schizophrenic that are like, no, I'm hearing voices. It's not government technology. I'm hearing voices, like, or I'm fucking. My family was possessed by aliens. No, they were replaced with lookalikes. And their identities were stolen. Like the problem is I was able to rationalize everything. If I would have been a little more irrational, I might have been safe. And then by the time I already tried to run, they already had me in this place. Because like I said, I reached what's supposed to be Park Ave in Rutherford. And I'm looking to the left as I'm walking down. And New York City was gone, man. In fact, what I saw in the distance was pretty fucking fucking scary and decrepit. Like a manufacturing wasteland. That's what it looked like. A manufacturing wasteland. An industrial wasteland. It was fucking creepy. But yeah. I don't know if this, because they fake your internet out here. Even your internet is staged. It's all bogus. It's not stuff that people in the real United States are getting. As well as your social media and stuff. So, I don't know if this is ever going to reach anyone important, but... or somebody that knows me. I just hope it does. That's it. Message in a bottle, right? Peace.